10 men, 1 room, and 10 universes. None of them aware the others existed. The sage Vasistha turns to Brahma and says, "Let me tell you a story within a story within a story, because some truths cannot be told directly. They have to be approached sideways, through a tale, so that by the time you realize what is being said, it has already entered you. This is one of those tales. It begins in the court of Brahma, who sits at the heart of all creation, surrounded by the machinery of existence. Brahma has seen worlds rise and fall. He has watched galaxies spin themselves into being. And yet, on this day, he turns to the sun, the oldest witness, the one who has seen everything, and asks a question that has been troubling him. He does not ask how the universe was made. He asks something stranger. He asks, how did all of this come to be? And the sun does not answer with a cosmology. He answers with a tale about a sage and his 10 sons. There was one sage named Indu, and Indu had 10 sons, 10 young men, born into the same house, raised under the same sky, taught by the same father. Nothing about their circumstances was different. And yet what each of them became, of what each of them created, was an entire universe apart. Because Indu taught his sons a single lesson, a lesson so quiet, so unassuming, that it took them years to understand what their father had actually given them. He told them, whatever the mind holds, it becomes. That was all. One sentence. And then he left them to sit with it. One by one, the 10 sons sat down. They closed their eyes, and they began to hold something in their minds. The first son contemplated the nature of the elements, and around him matter began to stir. Mountains rose, rivers carved their way through stone, skies unfolded overhead. A world taking shape, born from a single thought held long enough. The second son contemplated the movement of time, and time itself began to flow, seasons turning, ages passing, civilizations rising and falling in the space of his attention. Another contemplated light, and in the darkness of his inner space, suns ignited. Another contemplated sound, and the first vibration took form, shaping itself into the music of creation. Another contemplated desire, and around him, a world of longing took shape, gardens of temptation, faces that called to him, treasures that promised to fill an emptiness he could not name. He chased them for an age, only to realize the emptiness had never been outside him. Another contemplated the self, and he built a world of solitude, a vast palace where he was the only inhabitant, every room a mirror, every echo his own voice, until the loneliness itself became his teacher. Another contemplated memory, and he wove a world of the past, reliving every moment, every joy, every wound, until he understood that to live in what is gone is to never arrive at what is. And so it went, one after another, until all 10 had woven their worlds. Some we can name the worlds of elements, time, light, sound, desire, self, and memory. The others were no less vast. They simply had no need of names. Each son, through the sheer stillness of his own focus, became the architect of a complete and self-sustaining universe, not as a metaphor, as an act of consciousness. The text is explicit. The mind, absorbed in a single contemplation, does not merely imagine a world. It gives birth to one. Now here is where the story becomes uncomfortable, because the sun is not telling Brahma a fairy tale about 10 ancient boys. The sun is describing something far closer to home, something that is happening right now in this very moment behind your own eyes. The Yoga Vasistha teaches that the mind is not a mirror reflecting a world that already exists. The mind is the loom on which the world is woven. We assume the body came first, and the mind is a byproduct of the brain. a flicker of electricity inside a skull. The text inverts this completely. The mind came first. The body is a condensation of the mind's own contemplation. And the world you see is not a thing that exists independently and then enters your awareness. It is a thing your awareness is continuously weaving, moment by moment, through the attention you give it. Think about what you experience in a dream. In a dream, you are walking through a city. You can feel the pavement under your feet. You can smell the rain on the stone. The streets have names you have never heard, and yet you navigate them with ease. People pass you. Strangers with their own faces, their own worries, their own secret lives. You turn a corner and recognize a face you are certain you have met before, though you cannot say where. It all feels completely real while you're inside it. And yet the entire city, every brick, every face, every conversation, is generated by a single mind, yours. There is no city outside the dreamer. The dreamer is the city. The Yoga Vasistha asks, what if waking life works the same way? What if the world is a long dream and the mind is the dreamer, not the victim of reality, but its source? This is why the 10 sons could each create a universe. They were not performing miracles. They were demonstrating the native power of consciousness, a power that is not reserved for ancient sages, but is the very substance of your own awareness, right now. The text goes further. It tells us the mind has two bodies. There's the mental body, the one that acts, that chooses, that moves through the world with intention. And there's the physical body, which is in a sense passive, a reflection of what the mental body has contemplated. When the mind is agitated, the body suffers. When the mind is still, the body rests. When the mind is filled with fear, the world appears threatening. When the mind is clear, the same world appears as it is, a play of consciousness. You have felt this. The heart that races before a conversation that has not even happened yet. The sweat that breaks out at the thought of a door you have not yet opened. The shoulders that tighten when a memory surfaces. No one touched you. Nothing changed in the room. And yet your body responded as if the world itself had shifted, because the mind had already built the scene and the body simply followed. This is not mysticism for its own sake. It is a precise description of how perception actually works. Two people can stand in the same room and live in two completely different worlds, one in anxiety, one in peace, because the world is filtered, shaped, and ultimately created by the mind that perceives it. The 10 sons are not 10 ancient figures. They are a mirror. They show us that every mind is a universe in the making. The question is not whether you create reality. The question is what you are creating, and whether you're creating it on purpose or by accident. And this is where the story stops being ancient and becomes urgently personal. Every day, you are contemplating something. Your attention is a form of worship. It is the thing you give your life to. When you spend your hours rehearsing your failures, you are not just remembering the past. You are weaving a future made of the same material. When you obsess over what could go wrong, you are not preparing for reality. You are building it. The Yoga Vasistha calls this the power of vasana, the deep grooves of conditioning that pull the mind into familiar patterns. Think of the worry that finds you at 3 a.m, the same one that found you last night and the night before. Think of the conversation you have rehearsed in your head 100 times, the argument you never had, the apology you never gave, the reply you will never send. The mind returns to these grooves because they are worn deep. The 10 sons became creators because they directed their contemplation with total focus. Most of us become victims, Not because we lack power, but because we aim it at the wrong things, and then forget we are the ones aiming. Here is the liberating truth hidden inside this ancient story. If the mind creates the world, then the mind can also uncreate it. The fear that feels so solid is only solid because you keep feeding it attention. The limitation that defines you is only real because you keep contemplating it. Change the contemplation, and you change the world that appears around you. This is not about positive thinking. It is about understanding the mechanism. The 10 sons did not wish their universes into being. They sat, they focused, they became one with what they held. And in that absorption, creation happened. Effortlessly, spontaneously, inevitably. You are doing the same thing right now. The only question is whether you know what you're creating. So the next time you catch your mind rehearsing a catastrophe, remember the 10 sons. Remember that every mind is a universe in the making. And ask yourself the only question that matters. What am I holding? Because the world you live in tomorrow is being woven today by the mind you are feeding right now. And if one mind can create one universe, imagine what 10 can do. You are not a stranger in this world. You are its author, whether you know it or not. Stay curious and subscribe for more.